Hello, my name is Riley Arnett, and I'm a lifer, and I'm so grateful to be here before you today. To my fellow students, friends, and parents, before I give you any advice from my own journey here, I would like to take this opportunity to thank a few people who have influenced me and encouraged me. First, my family. Mom and Dad, thank you so much for all the hard work and love you give me each day, as well as your constant prayers over me. I love both of y'all so much. To my big sister Katie, thank you for being my best friend. I miss you so much this year, but I can't wait to join you at A&M next year. Next, thank you Mrs. Lichty, Dr. Steen, Mrs. Leininger, Mrs. Hubbard, and Mrs. Merriman. Y'all are all such amazing teachers who have truly prepared me to be successful in college. I'm so grateful for the support and encouragement each of y'all have given me. I'd like to take a minute to offer some advice that I've learned throughout my time in high school. First, teachers are your friends, so don't be afraid to ask for help or just get to know them. Second, sleep is a priority. Sometimes you feel like you have to sacrifice sleep for better grades, but that isn't true. You'll do better in school if you get enough sleep at night because your focus and attention span increases. Third, and most importantly, grades don't define you. Yes, grades are important, but not the most important thing. Don't forget to enjoy high school. Cheer at the football games, go to the musicals, and hang out with your friends. I hope you'll take this advice into consideration as you continue to enjoy high school. I'll be attending Texas A&M and studying engineering. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Benjamin Bauer. I am a senior at PCA, and I have been here for, I believe this is my 10th year. I would like first to thank the people who have, I would like to say, dragged me into top 10, because it's only through their help that I've gotten here. My mom, my dad, some teachers, Mrs. Paysant, Mrs. D, Dr. Steen, Napier and Lumley, and then the entire Bible department. They've been instrumental in helping me and through their advice and through their leadership and showing me what it means to be a Christian and what it means to get my work done and what it means to learn and to grow as a student. That's the first part of my advice, I would say, is to find those teachers that you can look up to and to learn from them as much as you can, to spend as much time with them as you can. And then another big piece of advice I would say is find a group that supports you and find a group that you can be honest and vulnerable with. Because I think that's one of the most important ways that we can find growth is to have people to talk to that support us and that are there for us, but that also know when to call us out and know when to tell us when we're doing something wrong and tell us when we're making a mistake. So I feel like that's the only major piece of advice I have. If you have that, all the other things, they fall into place well. If you have that and a solid faith, you can depend on those and you can be guided in most of the other areas of your life. And I think that's one of the main things that I've learned throughout the course of the years at PCA is the importance of that group and how to find that group. And then in the areas that I've found that group have always been the areas that have been the most impactful and the most important in my life. So I think that's the main piece of evidence that I would say. And then I'm undecided on where I'm going to college in the fall, but I know God's got a plan for me, and I will figure it out as I go.
My name is Carolina Casusol. This is my 7th year at Prestonwood, and even though I'm not committed to a college yet, I plan on studying biomedical engineering. I want to start with some very special thank yous because without the beautiful support system God gave me, I wouldn't be here to celebrate this accomplishment with you all today. I want to begin by thanking my mom and dad. There are a few things I could say or do to describe how much they've sacrificed for my brother and I to experience the opportunities and luxuries we have every single day. Thank you for supporting me, strengthening me, and never giving me any idea that I can't do or be anything I set my mind to. You've both given me more than I deserve, and I love you both so much. And of course, I have to thank my brother Renato for unknowingly motivating me to work harder to match his already impressive accomplishments. I also want to extend a huge thank you to some very special teachers. Ms. Gravitt, thank you for being the best advisor I could ask for. You've been our cheerleader, mentor, and friend all in one, and I know you will continue blessing the very lucky group of girls that has you as their advisor starting next year. Dr. Steen, you completely redefined what my failures mean to me and taught me that I learn more from my losses than from my victories. Thank you for challenging me and building the ethic I need to tackle all my future setbacks in college. Mr. Rose, Ms. Blaine, and Ms. Leininger, I have seen how much each of you care about building relationships with your students, and I want to thank you for making high school so much more fun. Most importantly, I want to thank God for the abilities and the opportunities He's given me, for surrounding me with family, friends, and teachers that uplift me, and for promising a plan for my life. This leads to the most important piece of advice I feel I can give you, whether this was your first year of high school or your last. Trust in God's plan. Romans 8:28 says, "We know that for those who love God, all things work together for good, for those who are called according to His purpose." This isn't to say that you shouldn't plan for your future, because the work you put into building your life matters. When our plans go sideways, though, we're quick to stress ourselves out by trying to understand why God let something happen or why He allows our plans to fall through. However, we aren't called to understand the reasons why God lets things happen. We are called to trust in His plan for our lives because His timing and reasoning will always be better than ours. Remember that God is constantly at work, even when He is silent or letting your plans fall through. Trusting God with my future has been my greatest source of comfort, and I encourage you all to remind yourselves of the promises God has made over your life. Congratulations to the students in this room, and thank you to the parents and faculty that are here to celebrate this accomplishment with us. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Lauren Denbraber, and I've been at PCA for 9 years. Though I don't know where I'm going to college yet, there are so many people that I'd like to thank. Thank you, Jesus. I also want to thank my parents for their wisdom, encouragement, and support. Juggling academics and club swimming was a daily sacrifice and act of love. I also want to thank my sister for her unwavering love, kindness, and support. Next, I would like to thank all of my PCA teachers for their advice and countless hours pouring their wisdom and encouragement into me. I have learned something from each and every teacher I have had. Thank you to all my English teachers, Mrs. Lichty, Mrs. Logston, Mrs. Wong, and Dr. Merriman. I'll miss all the deep conversations during our English discussion times. Thank you, Mrs. Wehoff, Mrs. Blaine, Mrs. Gilly, Mrs. Phillips, and Mr. Weiss. I also want to thank Mrs. Leininger, who profoundly impacted me. She mentored me and made a point of getting to know me. While they are all outstanding teachers who went above and beyond in the classroom, teaching with excellence, what stood out the most was that they're incredible, Christ-like role models and mentors who sacrificed their time to pour specifically into me. I'm here today blessed and significantly wiser because of their academic and personal support. Thank you. I also want to thank my amazing PCA swim coaches, Coach Perrin, Coach Kristen, Coach Tammy, and Coach Aris, for their athletic, spiritual, and life advice over the years, and for the support and encouragement to pursue my goals. Swimming has always been a huge part of my daily life. While club swimming may have taught me valuable lessons about discipline, grit, and determination, PCA Swim taught me about pursuing Jesus Christ through Kingdom Athletics and what it means to swim for an audience of one. I also want to thank all of my teammates that I've had in club and school swim. Thank you for being such great friends, for accepting me for who I am. Lastly, I want to thank my friends. Thank you for all the memories, spending time with me, and making my high school experience more positive. My advice to underclassmen is to go in and talk to your teachers. Building student-teacher relationships and asking for help from your teachers will help your grades and grow you as a person. Without my teachers, I would not be where I am today. Your teachers truly care about you academically and spiritually, otherwise they wouldn't have taken a pay cut to teach here. Teaching and shepherding students is a ministry to them. They have a wealth of knowledge that surpasses anything your friends, peers, or social media can provide. Don't be afraid to go seek and knock on their doors. God has placed them in your life for a season and for a reason. Take advantage of the opportunity to know the reason. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Kate Eskew, and I've gone to PCA for 14 years. And to start off, I probably wouldn't have made it in top 10 if it wasn't for a lot of support from the people around me. First off, my parents, I just like to thank them for all the support they've given me. And my mom for reading all my English papers, even though they were probably really bad. And my dad for always reminding me that he could get 105 on every assignment, no matter what it was. And in terms of teachers, they're very impactful to my success here. I'd first off like start thanking Dr. Steen and just all that he's poured into me and making me love what I want to pursue, and also for getting me into chemistry. I also like to thank the entire Bible department, specifically Mr. Rose, Mr. Lee, and Mr. Banis, and just how they've gotten me to critically think about my faith and where it's come from and all the things about it, and just to think deeper and learn more about that. And more teachers I'd like to thank, but can't go too much into. I'd like to thank my advisor, Mr. Ozzie, Miss Leininger, Miss Lichty, Miss Logston, Miss Phillips, Miss Stevens, Miss Derweese, and Miss Beckles for making school just a great place to be. And now for advice to the underclassmen. First off, starting with the freshmen, take every computer science class our school offers so you can boost your GPA and stay in the top 10 for the rest of your high school career. For the sophomores, I know a lot of you are taking AP Physics next year, and you may think the roller coaster project won't take that long, but it will, so start earlier. And for juniors, the capstone is in fact real and won't magically disappear the day before it's due, so start earlier than you think and work on it one step at a time. But in all seriousness, for the juniors, applying to college next year is very stressful, and don't put your identity in what the U.S. News rankings say are good colleges. Those are ranked by people who quite literally did not go to the school and only what they think about it, so they don't really mean anything. In terms of advice for everyone, The one thing I learned throughout high school is the importance of failing and to not be afraid of failing. Whether that's a test, getting rejected from a college, changing relationships, not doing as well as you thought in a sport and an extracurricular, or not meeting people's expectations. In the end, these trials only prove to strengthen us. And to quote a Batman movie, why do we fall? So we can learn to pick ourselves back up. It's just like on our last physics test when I accidentally said that gravity was going up, which is really stupid for a second year physics class, but I'll be sure to never make that mistake again. Failure is truly the key to ultimate growth, and to leave you with one final quote, there is no such thing as a painless lesson. They just don't exist. Sacrifices are necessary. It is impossible to gain something without losing something first. But if you can endure that pain and walk away from it, you'll find that you have a heart strong enough to overcome any obstacle. Thank you, and I'll be planning to attend UT in the fall, so hook 'em.
Hi, my name is Madeline Gray, and I have been at PCA for 13 years. This fall, I plan to attend Texas A&M and study biomedical engineering. I want to thank God, as well as a few individuals who have helped me in my journey through high school. First, I want to thank my family for always supporting me, no matter how late at night or how early in the morning it is. Next, thank you to the teachers who have always supported me throughout these years. Dr. Steen, you are single-handedly the reason I decided to pursue engineering and have taught me the importance of working hard. Mrs. Leiniger, thank you for making class so memorable and teaching us so well. Even when I have horrible senioritis, I always have hope that you can get me through it. And to my advisor, Mrs. Gravitt, thank you for always being such a great mentor in both my personal and academic life. You always remind me that I am capable and offer your advice, which has truly helped me so much. And to Ms. Beckles, thank you for guiding me and encouraging me every step of the way. A word of advice to the younger students in this room is to trust the process. I spent so much of my younger years stressing about the big questions I was being asked. Where will I go to college? What will I major in? What do I want to do for literally the rest of my life? Little did I know, everything came together beautifully in the end. Enjoy where you are today, because in a few years, you'll be leaving it all behind. When I move away in just a few months, what I will cherish most is all the memories and lessons I've gathered from my teachers, my peers, and my family, and I cannot be thankful enough. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Daniel Kim. I'm a senior at Prestonwood Christian Academy, and I've been here for 2 years. I would like to thank my parents, my siblings, and the great teachers at PCA for guiding me and supporting me through my journey. Advice to younger students would be to just trust in God. I didn't know I was coming to this school till a couple months before, and God only hands you challenges that you can take. So any challenge he gives you is an opportunity to better yourself, and an opportunity to improve your community or any other aspect of your life. I plan to study finance in college. I'm undecided where, and hopefully break into investment banking or private equity.
Hi everyone, I'm Danya Kinley, and this is my 4th year at Prestonwood. First, I would like to say some thank yous. These teachers have impacted my life in so many more ways than one, and I will never forget them. Thank you, Mr. Rose, Ms. Wehoff, Ms. Leininger, Ms. Gravitt, Mrs. Stevens, Dr. Steen, and the entire English department. I seriously mean every single teacher at Prestonwood I've ever had. Thank you all for putting up with my hilarious jokes and very occasional disruptions. They were super rare. Also, I want to thank the people who mean the most to me in my life, and that's my family. Mom, thank you for always encouraging me no matter what, and for being an incredible role model in my life. As an immigrant female doctor who started her own medical practice, you are my superhero, and I just want to be like you when I grow up. Dad, thank you for teaching me diligence and for helping me so much throughout the whole college process. I really don't know where I'd be without you and your YouTube videos about college rankings. And Dylan, thanks for helping me out with math basically all my life. I owe you one. I wouldn't be the person that I am today without any of these people because of the grace and wisdom that they've imparted onto me. I'm going to skip past the part where I tell you all not to procrastinate, because that would be hypocritical of me given that I wrote this speech about an hour ago. The most important piece of advice that I want to give to my fellow top teners was actually something that a college student recently told me while I was on a school tour. He told me, "You're going to a private Christian school right now. They're teaching you things about God, and once you graduate, you won't be in that environment anymore. If you don't believe what you're learning at that school, then that's that. But if there's even the slightest chance that what they're teaching you about God is true, then you have to hold on to that with absolutely everything that you have and never let it go. And this advice really stuck with me because I think it's the most important thing anyone's ever told me about going off to college. It's way more important than any grade. It's about your life and God's presence in your life. And I'm so grateful that I get to say that I am a strong believer and I get to carry God with me throughout the whole rest of my life. So I strongly encourage you all to really dive into who God is at Prestonwood because there are so many teachers and resources that you have available. And then you can carry that knowledge and that love with you for all your days. Last but not least, I would like to say hook 'em. In the fall, I will be going to the University of Texas at Austin, where I'll be studying business at the Macomb School of Business. Thank you, everyone, and congrats.
My name is Brian Lim. I've been at PCA for around 2 years, and I would like to thank my parents for supporting me up to this point. I should also thank my uncle and my aunt for taking care of me during my stay here, Miss Smith and Mr. Armstrong for introducing me to the school, and some other teachers for tolerating me when I did something stupid. For upcoming seniors and upperclassmen in general, I want to say don't fixate on your grades too much, because you're gonna succeed some days, but some days you're not gonna do as well. And don't let that ruin your entire day, because it's gonna happen eventually. So just accept it and try to find some other things in life that you can enjoy.
Hi, my name's Austin McLeod. I'm a senior this year, and this is my 15th year at Prestonwood. I mean, to think it's been that long is honestly crazy to me. Now I'm headed to Texas A&M University to study biomedical sciences in the pursuit of a medical career. The road to get here was difficult, but I couldn't have done it without the help of many. First, I want to thank God, because without God, I really am nothing. He got me to where I'm at today, and I can never thank him enough for it. Second, I want to thank my family, my parents, my siblings, my grandparents, everyone. I want to thank them for always being there for me. Y'all were there for me from literally the beginning. Third, I want to thank my teachers, more specifically, Dr. Steen, Mrs. Leininger, Dr. Steen, and Ms. Stevens. Y'all have been there for me and taught me so much, not just academically, but personally. Each one of y'all's dedication and love for what y'all do has made it to where sometimes I cannot dread walking through those double doors in the morning. Finally, I want to thank my friends. They've been there through thick and thin, through the easy and the hard, through the fun and, well, the not fun. I wouldn't be where I am without all of y'all. Now to my underclassmen, a few words of advice, and although they may sound redundant, they still hold true. Time, unfortunately, whether we want to come to realize it or not, is quickly running out. I know you hear this from a lot of seniors every single year. They always say the time goes by so fast. But in reality, it really is true. And I'll admit, sure, the school part definitely does not go fast. But the memories that you make with your friends are infinitely fleeting, and it's so important to make the most of them. That's why I want to encourage all of y'all to maintain balance whenever you can. Always there will be a time to work on school, and it's incredibly important that you do that. But at the same time, remember, it's always worth it to go to the football games, go to all the sports games, go to play a sport, go to a midweek, find other ways to engage in your community at the school, because the memories that you make with them will last way longer than a grade in the grade book. And as I close, juniors, your time's running out. The senioritis will hit hard, I'm sure, but trust me, it's the fastest year yet. Make the most of it. Enjoy it. Thank you, and gig 'em.
My name is Ian O'Brien, and I am a PCA lifer. I'd like to thank my parents for always supporting my interests and pursuits. They encouraged me to continue my academic path, even though I didn't feel like it sometimes. I felt completely burnt out, but they always helped me, which is why I want to thank them above all else. I also want to thank Dr. Steen for keeping the spark of STEM alive in me through the torrents of school assignments and the slog of work that one wades through to achieve a top 10%. Without him, I may have ended up in a respectable field like business or medicine, but instead I ended up in engineering. I'd also like to thank Mr. Rose for being steadfast in guiding me in the right direction, talking through which paths were viable and which ones were not. His presence in my high school career has always been beneficial, and I'd like to thank him for that. I'd also like to thank Mrs. Wehoff for providing me a nice, cozy period for 3 years to forget the pressures and wind down. I stayed in regs just to stay in her class. So watching her passion for Spanish language and culture every day deeply impacted me, as well as her passions for life, which gave me fresh insights. To Mrs. Addis, Mrs. Franjak, and Mrs. Borgman, thank you for encouraging me on the academic path I was taking, and to Mrs. Soper, who watched me grow up every step of the way, and always reminding me of how far I've come since I was little. My advice to the underclassmen: utilize all the resources PCA has to offer. If you find a class that will help you succeed in the future, take it. Don't just take classes for the credits, because PCA has much to offer. Benefit from the support of the guidance office, your teachers, because they sincerely care about you. When choosing between developing your character and top grades, make sure to invest in your character. As important as grades are now, they are only temporary. Your character will last far into your adulthood and is much more valuable than any monetary benefit a high GPA will provide. Surround yourself with friends who support you, and life is not all about school. I have decided to attend Colorado School of Mines in fall to study engineering, and I'm looking forward to my next adventure.
Hello, my name is Madeline Pruitt, and I've been at PCA since 2nd grade, and I feel very honored to be with you this afternoon. Before I begin, I would like to thank those who have enabled me to be here today. First and foremost, I would like to give all credit and honor to God for the gifts and talents He has blessed me with. Secondly, I would like to thank my parents for their unwavering support and encouragement. I would also like to thank my teachers and friends who have been by my side throughout my high school journey. Thank you to Mrs. Merriman, to Mrs. Stevens, and to Ms. Nivens. Thank you for your constant support and godly example in my life. I would like to congratulate each and every one of you on your accomplishment today. I know that you will be receiving a lot of advice, but I hope that I can quickly share 2 things that I've learned over the past 4 years. The first may seem cliche, and I'm sure you're tired of hearing this, but my encouragement to you is to avoid procrastination. I know, believe me, I used to be one of the best. I tried not procrastinating one time and got a super low grade, worse than I would have done if I'd procrastinated. It wasn't until one of the worst experiences of my life that I decided that procrastination was not worth it. Now put yourself in my shoes. It's the week before the first day of senior year, and you have 3 AP classes worth of summer assignments to do before school starts. This includes, but is not limited to, 2 essays, a large assortment of government documents to analyze, 3 books to read, and an AP art project. Now imagine staying up till 3 a.m. the morning of senior sunrise, showing up with bags under your eyes, only to finish during your late arrival minutes before class starts. Let me just say that it was horrible. In my defense, I was working on college applications all summer, but this aside, it made me pause and think. I decided to give not procrastinating another try. Not only was my grade higher, but it was so much less stressful. Now I can't go back. On top of everything else that high school brings, even a little bit less stress from pacing out assignments makes it easier. This leads me to my second piece of advice, which is to find a healthy balance, especially senior year. Senior year is busy between college applications, scholarships, and top 10 and all the senior events. I know that everyone here today is a high-achieving student, and as a result, we tend to try to do a lot. Sometimes this works out great, but a lot of times we end up putting ourselves through a lot of extra stress. If there was something I wish I had known going into my senior year, it would be to find a healthy balance. It's okay not to do everything and to say no. Find time to take care of you. You won't regret it. I will be attending Baylor University in the fall to study entrepreneurship and marketing. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here today, and I wish all of you a great rest of your year. And remember, don't procrastinate on your summer assignments. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Luke Wilson, and this is my 15th year at PCA. I want to start off by thanking a few people who have helped me on this journey. First of all, my family. I thank you, Dad, for always motivating me to do my best, and Mom for always being there when I needed support and encouragement. I also thank my grandma and grandpa for always loving me and being there for me. I thank my older sister, Lily, for being an example of strength and kindness, and my brother, Blake, for being a great little brother. I am proud of you for being in this room, Blake. I thank my teachers. A special thanks to Mr. Ozzie and Mrs. Stevens. Your passion for teaching and your knowledge have transformed my outlook on learning. I also thank them for guiding us on our France mini-muster trip, especially since we were not the easiest group to manage. Lastly, I want to thank my friends, many of whom I've been friends with since pre-K4, for making friendships that I know will last a lifetime. My grandpa told this story to my dad when he was disappointed about his first B in college. He said, "I remember my first B. My parents had never been prouder. I guess what I'm saying is, school's important, but don't make it the most significant part of your life. You can control how hard you work, but you cannot always control the results. Of course, always work your hardest, but life's about balance. So don't take time away from family activities or being with friends, stressing about your grade in a class. There will be ups and downs, but be consistent in your work. High school consists of the last years of living with your family, so make memories and make the most of this time. I know that it takes a lot of determination and grit to remain in the top 10% of your class, but continue to show up every day in everything you do and give it your all. Hook 'em.
Hi, my name's Shirley Young, and this is my 5th year at PCA. I would like to start my speech with a few thank yous. First, I would like to thank my parents. Mom, thank you so much for always being there for me, for teaching me how to love and care for others. I love you more than words can describe. Dad, thank you for teaching me how to work hard, how to dream big, and how to have determination like you do. Thank you for being the best role model. I love you infinitely. Next, I would like to thank a few teachers. Thank you, Dr. Steen, Mr. Chong, Mrs. Gravitt, Mrs. Lichty, Dr. Merriman, Mr. Rose, Mr. Banis, Mr. Ozzie, Mrs. Leininger, Mrs. Napier, Mrs. Lumley, Mrs. Compton, Mr. Weiss, Mrs. Blaine, Mrs. Stevens, Mrs. Phillips. Thank you so much for teaching me to enjoy the process of learning and not just working for a grade. Thank you for teaching me how to stay curious. Next, moving on to the advices that I would give. I encourage you to develop habits of learning and become a better version of yourself every single day, and not just working for a grade. Also, I would like to encourage you to know what your priorities in life are and set to work towards those goals. Understanding your why and why you're working towards what you want. And last, I would encourage you to glorify God in all your actions and love others. Thank you.